The Final Furlong podcast is proudly brought to you by Jeff Banks Bet. Get up to £500 refunded as real money for new Jeff Banks online accounts after your first month of betting. Use promo code FFP500 at jeffbanks.bet.
As the countdown to Cheltenham continues, I am joined by one of the most prolific and most Grade 1 winning riders in the British weighing room, Nico de Boinville. How are you?
Very well, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, thankfully. You are set for an incredible week, headlined by the star of the show for many people, Constitution Hill. We've heard all kinds of different speculation, all kinds of talking points. There's been Cheltenham previews up and down the land, but I'd just like to say, Nico, it's my responsibility as a broadcaster to ask the hard questions. So the question I have for you, how far are you going to win the champion hurdle by?
It could be a really interesting question, but if Brighter Days Ahead goes a really, really good gallop, which I expect they will, and I expect they'll have a good pacemaker in there as well, it could be. It depends when you play your hand. You know, ultimately you don't want to be giving the horses a really hard race, but at the same time you want to be winning. So I can't answer that. I'm not going to say more than 10 lengths or anything. You know, I'll go for the win. That's all I want.
It was nearly 10 lengths against State Man, to be fair. I mean, she's very talented. There's no question about that. But you're one of the greatest hurdlers to ever do it. And you've maintained all the way through all of the speculation, all the talking points. No, the horse is fine. The racecourse gallops were disappointing. The horse is fine. And that satisfaction was very clearly evident after you won the Christmas hurdle at Kempton. But the thing that I noticed was, okay, you had to give him a few cracks of the whip in the Christmas hurdle, but he was breathing very, very heavily. Like, he clearly needed that race. Whereas when you've gone around in third gear at Cheltenham and you've made the bad mistake of the last but recovered very quickly, there wasn't a stride knocked out of place. There's no hair out of place. He was ready to go round again. He just looks like, oh, this is the Constitution Hill we all know and love.
Exactly. I mean, he was just a bit race rusty at Kempton, and he's just had a nice blow going to the last, which is, a furlong out. So that's probably where we were, and he definitely came on for that run. And people have been talking about these racecourse gallops, but racecourse gallops are there for a reason, and they are there to put the finishing touches on horses and to see where you are in your training. You know, it's not a race. There's no money at the end of the gallop, so they're there for a reason. And I think people look into these racecourse gallops way too much. I mean, I heard something the other day that after the gallop the other day, Palladium got backed in and Lulamba drifted out. I mean, that kind of thing is because Lulamba was only doing an easy piece and Palladium needed a stronger piece. And it's all part of the training. Whereas Constitution Hill, I think we're there. I worked him 2 days ago, schooled him yesterday, and I couldn't be happier. You know, I know where he's at, and I think Seven Barriers as a team are happy with where we are.
The first show I did on Racing Live TalkSport 2 this year, we were talking about Constitution Hill, and Louis Stewart was on, and he's not a jumps man at all. He's massively, obviously, very talented flat jockey, and that's his bread and butter. But he had a fascinating insight. He told me that he still works for Godolphin. There's plenty of times he's ridden multiple Group 1 winners in a racecourse gallop, and they just show nothing, but then go onto the track and they're the superstars everyone knows. You can't tell. It's just, there's only so much you can learn from a gallop, and there's only so much that you will get from that compared to what a horse will do on the track. And there's horses that are brilliant in gallops, can't do it on the racecourse. I think you're back. I cannot wait for this race. It's an incredible race. If Lossiemouth turns up too, which is sounding unlikely, that'll be intriguing as well. But the very best of luck to you with Constitution Hill. Come home safe and sound. Hopefully, you can get the job done. Jonbon is 7 from 7 under you over fences. There is, though, a note of caution with him about whether or not he's quite the same horse at Cheltenham. Does he need to be for this champion chase?
I don't know where that stat sort of comes from, really. I sound all defensive, don't I? But
his former jockey has contributed to it, to be fair. Aidan Coleman has said it a couple of times that he doesn't think he's the same horse at Cheltenham.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, that's fine. I mean, people are always going to sort of try and crib horses and try and look for weaknesses, aren't they? But in my head, that I don't think it matters what track he's at. You know, I think he's a very good horse on his day, and I certainly don't feel that he's a worse horse around Cheltenham. I mean, you know, I've enjoyed riding him around in the Schloer, and yeah, that's all I've got to go on. So
There was the Gary Moore horse a few years ago that had been beaten twice at Cheltenham, turns up in the champion chase, just goes and wins. Like, with the greatest of respect to his opponents, it doesn't look the strongest of divisions. My instinct, and don't hate me, my instinct, because he's a short price favourite, is to take him on. But the more I look at the race, the more I find myself banging my head off the wall going, why? Who am I taking you on with?
I guess Solness would probably be the main danger. I mean, the way he's run his last couple of runs has been seriously impressive, and the fractions that he's set has been strong. But I think Jonbon, we know he stays, and we know he can travel at pace. And if we can put it all together, I think he's going to be tough to beat.
When he won the Melling Chase for you, and he was very impressive, and he beat the Ryanair winner, did you start thinking, actually, we should be going up and trip for the King George? And has he surprised you with how fast he's been this year?
I think he had. He's definitely developed this year. I mean, he's doing stuff at home which, more in his schooling rather than anything else that he wasn't quite showing in the years gone by. So I think he has surprised me that he's really sort of stamped his mark on the 2-mile division so far. I thought he is a horse you could potentially be seeing in a King George, something like that. But I mean, his last run in the Clarence Chase, he just could not wait to let rip, and that's the first time he's really sort of shown me that.
Fascinated to see him in action. 4:00 feature race, the Champion Chase, and we'll have it live for you on TalkSport and TalkSport 2. Feature race on the Thursday. You're going to be riding the young horse Lucky Place. He's 2 from 2 this season, and he ran a big race behind Langerdan in the Coral Cup last year. Step up and trip is an unknown, but it might also bring about improvement for him. How is he going?
Going really well. He's a horse we all love. He's a proper little, and he wouldn't stand out to you in the string. He just goes about his job nice and quietly, but he's very economical. We could have run him in the Cleve, but I got off him in the Rail Keel and said he'll definitely stay. I mean, he's stayed. He's out-battled in Gow Road, and I just felt that we didn't need to go and have that extra race at Cheltenham. So he's fresh, he's well, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I think he's coming slightly under the radar.
Yeah, I think more people are starting to take notice of him because there's an instinct to want to take on the reigning champ Teahupoo. I like him. I like that horse an awful lot, but it was a bad Stayers Hurdle he won last year, and everything went right for him, and the ground is going to be against him. Whereas you're the unexposed, young, new thing coming along, and you may very well improve for going up and trip. Do you think he will handle 3 miles on the new course at Cheltenham? Is pretty brutal. Do you think he'll stay?
It is, but I mean, we're set for a drying week, aren't we? Well, it's definitely drying out here, and I'm sort of 20 minutes away. But I personally got off him and said that he definitely will stay. So I think so. I think it's an incredibly open race. I mean, we haven't really seen Teahupoo this year, have we? I mean, it was a bit of a farce of a race against Lossiemouth, wasn't it? And we haven't seen him since. So
4-runner race, he gets beaten. She then gets beaten in the Christmas Hurdle that comes in, albeit by Constitution Hill, to be fair. Look, it worked for them last year. It may very well work for them this year. The ground would be a really big issue for me, and I was massively keen on him last year. I'm not so sure this time around. Django Bay is a fascinating one. He's the substitute for the Arkle, the unfortunate absence of Sergino, which is a real shame. And Majbur, for the second year in a row, bids to take advantage of Sergino's absence. Hopefully, we'll get to see those horses clash in a year's time. Django Bay is a good horse, and the thing that interests me about him is he was sent to Cheltenham for his chase debut by Nicky Henderson. That's not a Nicky Henderson thing to do. He must have been very, very pleased with his schooling. He jumped brilliantly that day. The horse he beat, Springwell Bay, is very, very talented. He may very well line up in the race as well. And then last time out, probably just didn't stay on bad ground at Sandown.
Yeah, I mean, we've done that. I say we never take first time out novices to Cheltenham, but we've done it twice this year with Django and then Peaky Boy as well. But I was very impressed with him. I was even impressed with him in the Silly Hearts. I mean, he's only gone down by a nose, and I'm still not quite sure how we got beaten, but the ground really did deteriorate between the second last and then all the way up to the line. So whether that had a fact to play, but I thought I was honestly in round the pond fence just because the ground was so bad. But I think he's a horse who really likes to attack and be let off. And I think if there's one thing he can do, it is jump at speed. So, and we were questioning whether to step him up again and go up to 3 miles and run him in the in the 3 mile race. But I think with Sergino, I'm poor Sergino. You know, we're all hoping that we can get him back. But you know, he's a really good super sub, and he looks really well, to be fair. And I'm hoping that we can turn it into a good race and test the other horses and make sure that a true champ comes out on top.
Out of interest, is the reason you didn't go for the Brown Advisory because you'd have to face Ballyburn? I never thought I'd see Ballyburn destroyed in the way he was by Sergino, which just proves what an incredible talent Sergino is. But Ballyburn will take an awful lot of beating over 3 miles. I
think he will. I mean, I came away from that race and I said to Paul when we pulled up, you'll just go and win the Brown Advisory. So, you go back through that form and look what Ballyburn and Rubo, who's come out and won a Grade 2, and you know, the form is all there. And Rubo nearly beat Loda Sud. So I'm Ballyburn. If he can put it all together, I think he's a definite. But I love that horse. He's just a terrific horse, and you'd love to see it for Ronnie Bartlett. Yeah. Class act, Ronnie Bartlett, and Ballyburn's a class act as well. We're looking forward to seeing him in action for Willie Mullins and Paul Townend on day 2. Joyeuse is a fascinating horse. She was devastatingly impressive in the William Hill Hurdle. And then you're told, yeah, by the way, congratulations on winning one of the most prestigious handicaps in the UK. You're not eligible for a handicap at Cheltenham. Thanks for playing. Bye-bye. So you're going to go for the Mayor's Hurdle. She won that off a mark of 1:23. She's clearly an awful lot better than that. And she's out of a dam who's a sister to Epatante, who you know well, a horse who came through from the Jerry Fielden handicap to the Christmas Hurdle at Kempton to the Champion Hurdle for Nicky Henderson. I'm not saying that she's going to follow the same route, but it is interesting that she's going from a handicap into a Grade 1. How is she, and how do you feel about the trip for her? Do you know what? She's a mare who really sort of turned around leading up to that race at Newbury. I only rode her work the week before and I thought, wow, this feels like a different mare. And again, I've worked her, 2 days ago, and I felt, you know, she's still there, and she's gone up £15 for that win. So look, it's worth a crack. It's not too much money to supplement in the grand scheme of things, you know, considering what she won last time. And with brighter days ahead and potentially Lossiemouth going to the Champion Hurdle, it certainly opens up that race. So it's not, I don't think it's a mad idea. Do you think that she'll stay? She was beaten by Wadu over 2 mile 4 at Cheltenham before. I think so. I mean, she's a mare who settles well. She jumps very economically. And again, if the ground keeps drying out, then I think she will stay up that hill. I mean, she did get beaten over 2.5, but as I said before, I really do feel that she is a different mare now. How did you feel about Rich Ritchie's comments last night on a Cheltenham preview where he's saying, yeah, Lossiemouth is a good horse, but maybe not a Champion Hurdle horse, that there's a chance now that she does actually go for a defense of her mare's title? Well, the joys in my life is that I don't really have much time to listen to anything else and hear all the noise around. So that's news to me. So, I mean, what will be, will be. I'll just focus on my horses and see how we go. But that'll certainly be interesting. Yeah, I think it's news to Paul Townend as well. But hey, we shall see how that all plays out. I can't imagine he's too pleased with that. For all the people will say State Man, but State Man does not look the same horse this year. Jeriko Du Reponet, the qualification rules for the Pertemps means you have to finish in the first 4 to qualify. Nico, chef's kiss. That was a great ride for 3rd place. This is a fascinating horse. He beat Secret Squirrel and Lump Sum last year. Lump Sum's finishing 2nd off top weight in the William Hill Handicap Hurdle. He has to be well handicapped going to the Pertemps, surely. And the form looks really good from his runs last year, doesn't it? But yeah, we're stepping him up. I schooled him yesterday, actually. He felt good. But, you know, if you can't... And he struggled to win. He didn't win last time out, and, you know, it was, I don't know. Maybe I could have ridden it differently, and then, you know, but I don't know. But look, he's in good order, so I'm hoping that the business... There is clearly a bit of a quirk with him, and there would be a stamina doubt, the 3 miles. Like, this is a horse who was going for the Supreme last year. Obviously, he didn't run well because poor Nicky's horses were all sick that year. But is he a horse that screams to you that 3 miles on the new course will suit him? Well, I thought he was staying all the way to the line at Exeter. So I don't think stamina is an issue. He was in the Coral Cup as well, but I just have a feeling that I think he's going to be suited to 3.
Dodie the Great, you won't be riding him, but he's qualified as well, and he's clearly a horse with talent.
Yeah, no, that was a really good run at Haydock. I rode him at over 2.3 at Ascot, and it all was just happening way too fast. So I spoke to Brian after his last run, and he was delighted with him and said that he stayed really well. So I think he's been crying out for this trip for a while. And again, I think he'll put up a good run.
And finally, Nico, the horses that everybody wants to know about. The €1.4 million purchase Palladium, and the horse that was explosively impressive at Ascot on his debut in Lulamba, and all the whispers coming out of Seven Barrows, more leaks than a nuclear submarine with a screen door, by the way. It's like Julian Assange and Edward Snowden are working there. There's so much info coming out. That this horse is an absolute machine. Is he, and are you going to be riding Lulamba in the Triumph Hurdle?
So I will be riding Lulamba. But that's not to say that Palladium hasn't got a squeak, hasn't got a chance. They both scored yesterday. Very happy with them. So yeah, look, they're both good horses. And to be fair, although it didn't look visually impressive at Huntingdon with Palladium, the form is really sort of beginning to stack up a bit behind him. Lulamba, he just keeps getting better and better, I think. And I think next year, you're going to see a really nice chaser in the making.
The talk that he could be Sergino 2.0, is that completely out of pocket?
Probably not as electric in his work at the moment, but there's plenty of time to develop. He is hard fit now, and he's ready to go.
And the fact that he's hard fit, was there any concern about you not having the second run, just having the one run in the UK and no graded run? No,
I think the Adonis is fairly close to Cheltenham, and I just don't think on that ground it was miserable ground at Kempton, as it has been at a lot of tracks over the last few weeks, just because it's been drying out. There's no grass cover, so yeah, and I'd say it could do more harm than good having running them both. So we come here fresh and well, and as I said, we've been doing lots of schooling, in behind horses. He jumping so we can't see hurdles, and yeah, he's learned a lot.
You've been incredibly kind with your time. 2 final questions for you. What is your best handicap ride of the week?
Should I just stick with the party line and say Mr. Coffee?
Oh, no. Well, Nicky was saying the other day, he's working so well he could win the Arkle.
He actually did work really well. Yeah. Maybe we should run him in the Arkle.
Sure, why not? See if he can give Majbur a bloody nose. If Mr. Coffee gave Majbur a bloody nose, that'd be some story.
Or shall we take on Ballyburn? That'd be something.
The 2 Willie Mullins novice superstars getting a bloody nose. Look, to be fair to him, that run in the Grand National was awesome. Like, I thought he was going to win.
I thought he was going to win, but then the jockey got a bit excited, didn't he, at the Melling Road, and thought that he was going to win as well. So, yeah.
So you're going for the cross country. Do you feel good about it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he's a pleasure to ride around there. I've just got to stop these Frenchies coming over and teaching us how to do it. But if that's Felix de Giles, I mean, I think we can call him a Frenchie now, can't we?
Oh yeah,
pretty
of course,
much French.
Of course, that's PC.
Yeah. If he won, I think that would be one of the greatest things of my career, I'd say.
I think it would be one of the greatest things of Nicky Henderson's career as well, for that matter.
Yeah.
I already know the answer to this question, but I have to ask you. It's like a contractual obligation of every broadcaster. Nico de Boinville, what is the horse you're most looking forward to partnering at Cheltenham 2025?
Mr. Coffee.
Oh, somewhere Constitution Hill's in the background going, he said what?
I'll answer that properly. Look, I've got some great rides. Really looking forward to it. Constitution Hill, I'd love to see him do it again, and I am looking forward to them. But I've got some good favourites. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting week, and I hope everyone has a fantastic week as well and enjoys it and makes a few quid, but most importantly, has a great time.
Well said, Nico. Echoed 100%. Thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck for Cheltenham.
All right. Thanks a lot, Emmet. Good to talk.
As our countdown to Cheltenham continues, I'm delighted to say that we are joined by a man who has saddled 23 winners at the greatest show on turf, and he is the only trainer in the history of racing to win the Champion Hurdle, the Queen Mother Champion Chase, the Gold Cup, all in the same season, and for good measure, less than a month later, he added the first and second in the Grand National that year too. Henry de Bromhead, welcome back to the show.
Well, thanks very much. That's a nice introduction, anyhow.
Well, it's the least we can say, and we very much appreciate your time at such a busy time. I'd like to start with a race that's going to be close to your heart, the Mare's Hurdle. Obviously a race that you won twice with Honeysuckle, who was a brilliant, brilliant mare. You've got a horse who's a very different type in July Flower, a horse you had as a bumper horse. She came back in spectacular fashion at the Leopardstown Christmas meeting. Great ride from Rachel. How has she been since?
Yeah, she's been really good. Yeah, we're delighted with her. She worked well the other day. This has always been the plan, and really happy for Duncan Angove that it's worked out. Obviously her form is very good there in the French Champion Hurdle, and we'd liked her a lot when she was a younger mare when we had her. So thankfully Duncan was happy to buy her, and so far it's it's been good.
And that form has already been franked. I know Caliconti is very well thought of and has been talked up in quite a few previews, but World of Fortunes came out and won a listed race at Doncaster. Jutaro went to Doncaster and won a Grade 2 as well. So it's form that looks pretty strong.
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. Look, we know our mare's a good mare. So that was her first run back for us, and we were delighted on the day. Was
this always the plan, or was the Stayers Hurdle ever in consideration?
I suppose we gave her the entry, but I think we were always this would have been sort of my preference, but it was always going to be open to discussion. But I think we're happy now to commit to the mares.
Okay, she's got a great chance, I think. How do you feel about her over the old course in that trip?
Yeah, I think good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, look, she's got plenty of pace. She'll be fine. Yeah.
That's shaping up to be a cracking race. We still don't know what's happening with Lossiemouth, but really, really intriguing race, and she's got a massive chance. Opening race, one of the big talking horses from the Cheltenham preview nights is Workahead. He was really, really good at the Leopardstown Christmas meeting, winning his second start over hurdles, showed the experience from his debut. I thought he was a horse who would appreciate going up a trip, but actually he looked really fast that day, and the Race IQ data very much backs that up. How has he been?
Yeah, really good. Again, we put him away afterwards. He'd come in quite early on because he'd been injured after we bought him in his point-to-point. And so he came in quite early last summer just to get back going again, having been off for so long. So just didn't want to keep going, felt he'd done enough. And we said we'd back off him, and he seems really good now. He worked really well the other day, and happy, very happy. Thought he was very impressive at Leopardstown, same time as the favourite on the same day, same course and distance. I think we carried more weight. Yeah, that's not to say, but I think we're bang there. Yeah, definitely.
Does the lack of graded experience bother you at all?
No, not in the slightest. Leopardstown Maiden Hurdle is like a graded race anyhow.
Yeah,
no, touch wood. I hope it doesn't come against me now saying that. But no, I'd prefer to do that than try and prove it to myself that we need to go there, or we need that we can go there, or we need the experience. But yeah, no, touch wood. I'm touching wood vigorously now. That'll come back and haunt me with him. But happy. Yeah.
We'll touch wood here in the studio as well, for that matter. Forward-going horse in the Supreme Novice Hurdle, a fluent jumper as well. There's a lot of weapons in his arsenal there.
Yeah, I think so. Hopefully, yeah, high cruising speed and really quickened off it at Leopardstown. I thought he was so impressive that day, and the form's been rock solid since. And look, we'll see.
Yeah, very likeable horse. Best of luck to you with him. Day 2 in the Brown Advisory. We haven't seen Gorgeous Tom since the Drinmore. He flashed home that day. Probably would have won in another couple of strides, but he's a really nice horse. 2 from 4 over fences. He did take a tumble one of the days, but he's looking good, and particularly given what Crow Park went on to do, winning a Grade 1 over 3 miles and then finishing second to Ballyburn. It looks strong form, Henry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we don't know if he stays any further. He certainly looked like it. Mark Wolf's thought so as well on the day. So that's probably the key, isn't it? If he does stay, I think he's got a good he's got a gear as well. Like even when he won his hurdle at Punchestown, he really quickened. So the key is whether he stays or not, and nicer ground would be a big thing for him, which hopefully we're going to get.
And he's from the family of Kappa Blue, who was a real dour stayer. So that would give you a bit of hope as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Palladium, we've only seen him once this season, but it was a winning start. Small field race on New Year's Eve. Last year, he ran an absolute blinder in the Coral Cup, and he was giving weight to a horse that turned out to be a Grade 1 winner, or at least Grade 1 class in Langerdan. He pushed in Peripass all the way at Aintree and then again at Sandown. So he does have more weight this year, 151, 147 last year, but he'd look to have another big chance.
Yeah, he's brilliant, Palladium. He's very consistent. He's a very good horse. And look, I mean, yeah, it's a tough task with the handicapper, but that's it is what it is. We'll see. He's in great form, so hoping for a good run.
And 2 in the Champion Chase, the reigning Queen Mother Champion Chase winner at Captain Guinness, and Quilixius, who, if Jonbon is the superstar, and Nico de Boinville sounded very confident on the show earlier on, very, very bullish that the Cheltenham form, don't need to worry about that. He thinks he's just going to go and win. Well, if he is the good thing, Quilixius was second to him in the Tinkle Creek at Sandown. He's a former Triumph Hurdle winner, and he beat Marine Nationale earlier this season, so he's surely an interesting outsider at least.
Yeah, you'd believe so, wouldn't you? Giving Marine Nationale weight as well. Yeah, I agree. I suppose at Leopardstown, just the last day, he just wasn't right. He came home, he was a bit sore. Thankfully, he's come right again in that sense. He seems in good form. As you say, his form before Christmas, he's bang there to be placed. And obviously, just so long as we get back to that, we think we had a good reason for Leopardstown the last day, and yeah, hopefully he'll run really well.
And how's Captain Guinness doing?
Yeah, he's coming. He's coming. He's had a slow start this season. Normally he lands running, but yeah, he seems back to himself. Look, he has to go and defend his crown. He's as you say, he's the reigning champion, which has got a nice ring to it, and he's definitely in good form. He loves it over there. Obviously, you'd have liked a bit more coming into it, but it is what it is, and he'll definitely put his best foot forward there.
Some way to break your Grade 1 duck in the Queen Mother Champion Chase.
I always felt he deserved to win a Grade 1 Champion Chase. Not, we weren't so sure, but you know what? It's brilliant. It's brilliant for Declan and Josephine Landy. They're great supporters of ours and the game. So yeah, it's great.
Oh, sensational scenes. Punters were in turmoil with poor El Fabiola at the back of the field, but really stunning sight. Envoylen, absolute legend of horse, 3-time Cheltenham winner, multiple Grade 1 winner. So you've got 3 horses for this race. There's one thing I'm just very interested in. Last year when he ran in the Ryanair Chase, he hadn't run since November. This time around, you've brought him to the King George at Kempton, a race that he didn't do well in before, so it doesn't bother me that he unseated Rachel that day. I'm just wondering, was this a plan to have him ready for perhaps one last hurrah in a race he's won before at a meeting he loves?
Well, the plan was to win the King George, but sadly he just seems to, I don't know what it is about over there. He seems to, I don't know, he did twice now. We thought we had the reason the first time, and I swore I wouldn't go back again after he ran bad and Manella Indo had been the year before, and then I just felt we had to go back this year, and it happened again. But he worked the other day, and he worked like an 8-year-old. He worked really well. He seems in mighty form. I think the ground went against him a little bit last year in the Ryanair, and it certainly favoured Protectorat. I'm hoping, if we get a bit nicer ground, that will help him. And he's in mighty form. Look, whether age has caught up with him or not, I don't know, but certainly seeing him work the other day, you wouldn't have thought it.
Well, that is music to my ears, because Lizzie Kelly and I have been talking about this horse for quite a while, and we cannot understand why he's such a big price, especially with the form with Protectorat, and there'd be a slight doubt in my mind about Protectorat on the ground. So the very best of luck to you with Envoylen. You do have 2 stable companions who are a serious threat to him, though. Jungle Boogie's lightly raced. He was a really impressive winner at Ascot when we last saw him. And then on the other side of the scale, you've got the very exciting Hartwood, who's completely unexposed and much younger. He's only 7. How are both?
Yeah, both are good, really good. Jungle Boogie's good, as you say. He won really well at Ascot. He seems in good form. Would look like this trip would be ideal for him. Like if he stopped the Gold Cup turning in, he's going as well as anything. So yeah, a bit older but lightly raced, has had loads of problems throughout his career, but he seems good, so we're happy with him. And Hartwood, I think Hartwood's he's bang there as well for my money. Like again, just probably didn't see it out at Aintree last year, and didn't see it out again at Leopardstown. I wondered between when he went to Wexford, he sort of stayed 2-7 in a lesser race really well and sprinted away from them. And I still hoped that maybe he would see it out, the 3 miles, but he just didn't at the Savills. But again, running really well, turning in, and just faded. So yeah, 2-5. I think it'll really suit him. And as you say, he's a younger, improving horse, hopefully.
I think he's a very exciting horse. Best of luck to you with all 3, but I'm cheering on Envoy and backing Envoy as well. There's the impartiality gone completely out the window. Bob Bollinger is a legend in his own right. He's a 3-time Cheltenham winner. Is he going to head for the Stayers Hurdle, and do you think he will stay? He certainly travels well enough.
Yeah, more and more likely. The better the ground, the more likely he is going to run. So I presume, but I haven't seen a forecast today, but I presume they're still sort of predicting nice jumping ground. And if so, I'd say he is. I think he's unbeaten around Cheltenham, although probably a bit elephant they jump. I think he is.
He is.
Yeah, again, I'm amazed at the price he is compared to the Joseph's horse that beat him at Leopardstown. Beat him twice this year, in fairness. So, but our lad's in great form. He loves Cheltenham. I think he'll stay. I think he stayed at Leopardstown. I thought he did, but maybe not. I obviously his name has slipped my mind now. The horse that beat him, but he's just
Home by the Lee.
He seemed, Home by the Lee. Yeah, he seems better than ever this year, and he's been really impressive. In fairness, so yeah, I think. Bob is in great form, and he loves it over there as well. So yeah, if he goes, hopefully he'll hit the frame.
The O'Brien team keep talking up Home by the Lee, but they're not 20-1. Bob Bollinger is. And the form is right there.
Yeah.
He's a Cheltenham horse too, whereas Home by the Lee isn't.
I don't know his record around Cheltenham, but our lad's got a great record, and I think they're quite right to talk him up. He's been Home by the Lee's been brilliant this year. Yeah, he's been very good every year, but even better this year, I'd have said. Yeah,
JJ said on a few preview panels he knows how to ride him now, so that could make him very, very dangerous indeed. A couple of handicappers that could go, the Short Go and our old friend Chartreuse.
Short Go would hopefully go for the Ultima if he gets in. I think there's 2 or 3 in front of him. Chartreuse won't go. He ran well the other day. He'll probably go to Aintree for the Topham.
You know we never win the Ultima. Is the Short Go going to be the one that fixes that?
Apparently we never won the Betfair Chase until La Plutard went there. So there you go.
I like that. You're going to break another stat for us.
Or maybe we only won it once. I'll never forget. I was sitting there at lovely lunch beforehand in Haydock, and everyone, all they kept saying was either we'd only won it once or we'd never won it. I can't remember. And I was going, oh my God, why am I here? Kind of thing by the end of the lunch. But anyhow, thankfully he won. Even
the mighty Beaver Salmon got beaten in a Betfair Chase, for that matter. So thankfully, at Plutard, but thankfully, Plutard came to the rescue. A horse that might
forget it. Yeah,
it was an incredible performance as well. He absolutely tore the field to shreds that day.
He did.
A horse that there's a lot of expectation on is the Big Westerner. She's been really talked up in the Cheltenham preview circuit, and rightly so. She's obviously been massively impressive in her 2 performances, including that one at Limerick against the Mozzie sister. That race has a pretty good record, and she's a half-sister to Stay Away Faye, so stamina shouldn't be a problem considering he won this race. How has her preparation been going, and how are you feeling about the potato race?
Yeah, really well. We again just backed off her. She was in quite early. She was probably ready to run from early October, and just the ground wasn't right for her at the time. So she seems really good. She probably would prefer a bit of an ease in the ground, but she's in great form. She's had a great prep. She worked really well the other day. She's plenty of class. Happy with her. Obviously trip, I mean, you'd hope she'll stay at Limerick. So yeah, we're really happy with her. She's great. She looks really well, and she's a character. Yeah, she's great.
How do you feel about the big field and slightly better ground?
Yeah, concerned probably about both. Less so the big fields. Better ground could be a concern. Yeah, could be. But I suppose she's never really had to run on it either, so far. So it wasn't, I mean, it was soft at Punchestown, but I'd have said it wasn't, the ground had just changed sort of thing. So I think she should be all right on it. But we'll see. But look, she's class mare, unbeaten so far, yeah.
I was expecting Gavin Lynch to talk up something like Final Demand, but his best novice hurdle bet is the Big Westerner in the Albert Bartlett.
Wow.
Seal of approval there from one of the best in the business. Monty Starr, I think, is a fascinating runner in the Gold Cup. He was second to Factifile in the Brown Advisory last year, and from what I understand, the season hasn't been easy for him, and your horses weren't running very well at the DRF, so for him to finish fifth and as close as he did to Galopin Des Champs is certainly something that would bode well. I know a lot of people have rated this horse very, very highly for quite some time. Yeah,
look, his form was rock solid last year. He was unfortunate not to win a Grade 1, really, but anyhow, he didn't. He had a setback at the start of the year, and that really just put us back. He took a couple of blows in Tremor, so we knew he'd improve. He still took a little blow turning in Leopardstown, so he'll improve again for that. So I think he's bang there to finish in the frame. Obviously, to say he's going to beat Galopin Des Champs would be a big statement, but I think he's bang there to finish in the frame. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully, he can do that.
Galopin Des Champs has won the last 2 Gold Cups. You won the previous 2 with 2 different horses. If he does win, obviously that would be fantastic for you. It wouldn't be great for racing, though, if you stop Galopin Des Champs from winning a 3rd Gold Cup. So I'll do this from the more polite perspective. If you finish second to Galopin Des Champs, what do you think it means, him being only the 5th horse in the 100th running of the race to win it 3 times?
Incredible. Absolutely. It really would. Like, we know, obviously, well, it goes without saying how hard it is, but hopefully he'll finish second and we'll win. and we'll show everyone how hard it is to win it 3 times. But if not, if we don't win, I hope he obviously does. Yeah, absolutely. Amazing training performance, brilliant owners that have him. And yeah, look, it's incredible what he's done. And in fairness to Willie, he's like, he runs him, and he's not. It's just incredible. I think brilliant. Yeah, it would be great if we don't win.
If you don't win, I've got one final horse to ask you about, and it's a horse that everybody keeps telling me I just have to back blindly. Forget everything else, just back this horse. Tap on the Go, and his form is very, very interesting. Beats Flora in the Park, who then gives the Yellow Claif right. Beats McClory, who wins at the DRF. Second to Old Man Dingle is good. James's Gate was going to be a huge Coral Cup horse. Didn't get enough qualification runs because of the new silly rules. And then I was at Punchestown today. He was behind William Money, where he didn't seem to quite run to his ability, but it's there for him to run a massive race in the Martin Pipe. Yeah, look, he's a lovely horse. I mean, he's done a lot this season already, so it's a big ask. He probably, I'd say, he got stuck in the ground, and that, as we know, William Money's a very forward going. It's a fast 2-mile race around a tight little track. That inside track in Punchestown is just, I don't know, it's very tight anyhow. It's a dog track, Henry. You're being polite.
Yeah, well, I've had enough. Yeah. And yeah,
we love you, Punchestown. We love you.
I love Punchestown, but just that inside track is shocking. Yeah. So he ran well. but just got run off his feet on ground, he wouldn't be mad about. Now it's coming into his 6th run of the season. Like it's a big ask, but he's a lovely horse and he seems well.
Will the jockey who was on board the last day be on board?
Yes, Michael O'Connor. Yeah, he'll ride.
That seems like hopefully a plan well executed in the final race, the Martin Pipe. You went close last year with Waterford Whispers. Hopefully this year, one better, particularly if Monty Star has come second to Gallop on the Champ. Of all the horses you're saddling, Henry, who are you looking forward to saddling most?
Oh, I'm not even delighted to have such nice horses going, to be honest. You know, I wouldn't even go there with that. Think we've plenty with chances, and you know, we need a bit of luck, obviously, and we'll see. Yeah, if you can get out of there with one winner, you'd be delighted. Anything better than that's a bonus.
A very diplomatic answer. All the owners will be very pleased. Henry, thank you so much for your time. The very best of luck for the week at Cheltenham, and please God, we'll talk to you again before entry.
Thanks a million.
The Final Furlong podcast is proudly brought to you by Jeff Banks Bet. Get up to £500 refunded as real money for new Jeff Banks online accounts after your first month of betting. Use promo code FFP500 at jeffbanks.bet.